Hello, I'm Mantastic'c and Fantastic, and today I'm going to talk about the New Year's rare egg machine that has just come back to North America. So, New Year's is a seasonal rare egg machine, and seasonal rare egg machines have historically had terrible rolling rates. They're populated with cards from many years ago at the bottom rarity. The bottom rarity tends to get minimal amounts of love, which in turn means they also are bloating out the rolling pool, which means most of your rolls are going to be sad. Unlike Super Godfest, where a Pantheon is the miss, Pantheon cards, for the most part, still have some value. Many of them are getting weapon assists. Some can even be used as subs. Anything at 6-star, 5-star, and 4-star in this rare egg machine, I feel has virtually no value. So right from the get-go, you have over almost a 73% chance of getting something bad. And I say bad in the sense that it's not going to do anything for your box. Yes, they have weapon assists, but they're so weak. Like, you would only choose to make that weapon if you have absolutely nothing else. And then at that point, it probably wasn't worth the amount of resources you spent to make the weapon assist. So with that in mind, I think it's a terrible idea to actually roll in this event. If anything, Monster Exchange for what you like, or IAP for the respective orb skin card if you feel like it will change your life overall. Because if we look at the rolling rate breakdown, it's a 3% chance for any 9-star, 6% for 8 stars, and those are the tradable cards. 7 stars are 17.5%. I know the rolling rates don't perfectly add up to 100, it's just a slight lower due to rounding errors, but point of the matter is there's only some cards that are truly great, and even some of the 8 stars I'm not a fan of. Some of the 7 stars I think are sad and disappointing as well. So there's only a few truly great cards, and even though it only costs 5 magic stones, I strongly encourage you not to roll in this event. We have much better stuff. Blackbird's debut Super Godfest should be coming soon, and even if it hasn't have the greatest rolling rates, it's going to be better than this. And at the same time, we're going to have One Punch Man collab coming, and it's a new collab. And new collabs tend to be good places to roll in because lots of the cards will be new. They tend to be a bit stronger because it is a new event. Usually things that are released in the present day tend to be stronger than cards released, say, 5, 6, 7 years ago. But with that being said, I want to take a look at all the notable cards from this event to give you an idea of what may or may not be strong. So, first card is New Year's Lutina, and she is a brand new 9-star card, and she is missing several awakenings, so we know she will get buffed in the future to have more awakenings. She needs a couple more to truly shine bright, but from the get-go, she has double 10 combo and an L. So, huge amounts of personal damage will double cap with ease, and through Super Awakenings, you can get another 10 combo, which is completely unnecessary because her sub-attribute is not water. If her sub-attribute was water, you could argue she's kind of like Ghost Ring. She can double cap a main attribute and deal a meaningful amount of damage on the sub-attribute, but that's not the case, so I wouldn't pursue that. So you're often going to be better off choosing the Super Resist or maybe Skill Boost Plus, depending on your team needs. For the active skill itself, I feel like as a whole, Lutina is great for MD2. And if you're not playing through MD2, a lot of her value will be lost. But even with that being said, I feel like Water has so many strong options already that you may not necessarily need her. I think she's nice to have, she is strong, but I don't think she's that powerful or meaningful because her active skill is quite restrictive. Her active skill gives you 2 turns of no Skyfalls, which can be great to override debuffs, 2 turns of attribute absorption cancellation on a 6-turn cooldown, so that's pretty short when you really think about it. And this is where the extra zest comes from, is that if it is floor 5 or earlier, you get 2 turns of damage absorption cancellation. If this was turns or floor 6 or earlier, this would be better, because the problem is only MD2 has a damage absorption you need to counter within the first 5 floors. Shura 2 or Shura 3 is floor 6 where you need the damage absorption. If it was up to that level, I'd say New Year's Lutina would be much stronger because then you can actually use her across a wider variety of dungeons. But right now, I feel like it only truly shines brightest in MD2 because we don't really need color absorb in the vast majority of other dungeons. And if you look at her awakenings, she's missing VDP. She doesn't have as many other awakenings. She may not have as many skill boosts. So, like, I think she's strong, but we do have so many other great water card options available that I don't think it's necessary to have and pursue. Like, trade foddering would be quite costly. It takes 5 7-star Godfest exclusives, so I feel like it's a bit too expensive for what it does do. If it worked for Shura 3, it worked across a wider range of dungeons, maybe she had more awakenings, I would feel like it's more justifiable. For her first weapon assist, it's a skill boost and a team HP, plus a 4-turn delay. So right away, we can make comparisons to the Manoa weapons. Manoa weapons have skill boost, team HP, and a bunch of rows for the respective color. They have a 3-turn delay instead of 4 turns, so yes, you get more delays out of this. It is stronger in that sense, but it's nice, but do you need it? Do you have other delay options in your monster box? And then for the 1 turn of attribute absorption and damage absorption cancellation, it's going to be hard to have all those effects line up. I don't think you're really going to actually take advantage of the absorption cancellations. It's more so for the delay. So again, it is nice, but it's not necessary. Finally, for her final weapon assist, she has 2 team HPs and 3 enhanced water orbs. So if you can take advantage of those water orbs, it can be meaningful. And this active skill is that same style active she had from her base form. You have the 2 turns of damage absorption cancellation. So again, for MD2, this can be a meaningful choice because you have the team HPs and the water orbs. And if you take advantage of the water orbs, it does give value. One notable instance where I want to draw attention to is Daytona teams, because Daytona teams love HP. Actually, everyone loves HP in MD2, but HP is good. And then the enhanced water orbs become enhanced heart orbs from Daytona's orb changers, so it lets you heal back up more, and healing can be a little stressful sometimes on Daytona teams, sometimes maybe not, but more healing and bulk is good, and it's that same active skill you want to have for floor, the damage absorption floor, and then the color absorption might come up because of the 6-turn cooldown. It might come up in time for the Paimon spawn later on. So I can definitely foresee it being possibly utilized for MD2 purposes. I think it's better off as a weapon assist for the flexibility it offers compared to the base form, which is, in my opinion, still a little too restrictive. So definitely strong, but not something you need to have. Oh, wait, it's damage absorb, not void? Damage, no, wait, did I say that wrong? Bypass absorb and bypass, no, that's correct. KT, it's correct. So yeah, you're not going to use absorb, void damage. Oh yeah, void damage void. Oh yeah, so like it's still hard to use the other effects. You're right about the second weapon, but I feel like it's mostly for the delay. And if you have like the Manoa weapons or even red shelling for it, pretty similar overlap. For New Year's Lajoie, we have, he's still a reasonable card as a sub, but I feel like their main value is going to come from their first weapon assist, because their first weapon assist, when it does show up, has 2 team HPs, skill boost, and tape resist. Right away, this is a good weapon from a pure Awakening's point of view, but the active skill itself is meaningful. You get 2 turns of 75% damage reduction, and we need shields for Shura 2, Shura 3, MDs, they love them as well. It's nice to be able to tank hits that you normally couldn't survive. Good to have. It also gives you 5 times attack for the owning card, which lets them double cap more reliably, even on their sub-attribute. And then you get a board unlock with light, dark, and hard orbs. So pretty nice active skill overall. Things we need, useful awakenings. It's, again, a nice weapon assist to have. Is it something you need to pursue and go out of your way to get? I don't think it's necessary just because the trade fodder is so expensive. If the trade fodder was less expensive, I feel like I would definitely want to pick one up. But for 5, 7-star Galactus exclusives, I feel like it's not necessary. For their new weapon assist, I don't think it's worth pursuing because the cooldown is so low. You don't really want to have this active skill effect. And the awakenings are cool, but the vast majority of value will be found in their first or original weapon assists. For New Year's Reeche, they can be arguably a strong rainbow sub, but I want to draw all the attention to their first weapon assist because it is actually incredibly strong. You get bind immunity, you get skill bind resist, you also get cloud resist, so good stuff, and 1 bonus second of movement time. So these are nice awakenings, but it's the active skill that kind of sets it apart. It gives you not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, but 7 turns of damage and color absorption cancellation. This is borderline excessive. I thought regular Reeche at 5 turns was excessive, but it's nice to have because if you're playing dungeons where there's multiple turns of absorption or something tanky, or you're playing in 3-player and you don't fully trust your allies to kill stuff in time, having many turns of absorption cancellation is meaningful. And with 7 turns, it's almost comical how long this lasts. For some dungeons, it's like half of the dungeon's duration. Like, for the current Zeus Giga dungeon, there's multiple instances of absorption multiple floors apart. And if you use this Reeche hat, you can potentially counter most of those absorbs, even if they're multiple floors spaced, because it lasts for 7 turns. Pretty amazing overall. You can argue that in Shura 3 that it does cancel the Dryad's absorb, and if you go fast enough, you have enough absorption to kill off the other spawns. Because if you think about it, you use 1 turn on the Dryad, 1 turn on the Mystic Knights, 2 turns on the following floor, so that's 4 turns, and then you still have 3 more turns of absorption to kill off the absorb at the end. You can use this in Shura 3 too, and you can have 100% consistency against that trolling Dryad. So that is pretty exciting overall, from my opinion. Like, it's excessively long, but it opens up some interesting possibilities. And I feel like this is definitely the form you want to pursue. Is it worth trading for? I don't think it's truly needed. Like I said, Reeche's hat is 5 turns, which is enough. But then again, the 7 turns does open up possibilities you couldn't have possibly overcome. And again, weapon assists tend to have the longest shelf life. And there's no other weapon assist that gives you 7 turns. So from a unique point of view, it's quite unique. And it's, again, countering a mechanic that is important. So is it worth trading for? It's really costly, but it may end up making your life much happier, especially if you don't have a regular Reeche. You have something cool to pull out of your back pocket, so to speak. For their new weapon assist, it gives you 2 turns of 75% damage reduction, which we do love, and then 2 turns of damage absorption and attribute absorption cancellation. So, like, it is cool, but it is nowhere near as unique and novel as their first weapon, so I'd be much more inclined to pursue this one. For the 8-star cards, they are kind of cool, but again, I don't think they're worth trading for. New Year's Artemis still is a strong sub, but the problem is we don't really need color absorption cancellation. Yes, they do give you 2 turns of color absorb, and they change fire to wood and then remove all awoken skill binds. They do a lot of things, and 1 year ago, when you played through Shura 2, it was the best card because there is color absorption in Shura 2. It also gives you another alternative to clearing awoken binds. It was a powerful active skill at the time, and she has been now buffed to have a VDP. So if 777 combo and the 2 enhanced wood combos and the VDP and the monstrously large attack set, she's going to double cap reliably, she's going to double cap with that VDP for sure, and it'll let you deal significant amounts of damage. The problem is this active skill, while strong, is not needed for any current dungeons. Like, color absorption is not that common overall, I feel, so like, it's cool to have, but it's not necessary. I wouldn't trade for her nowadays. It was definitely worth trading for back then, but not so much nowadays. For her weapon assist, it keeps the same active skill, but it also has a skill boost, 2 team RCVs, and enhanced wood orbs. Pretty strong overall, but again, this is an active skill that's not quite needed in many instances. Like, it could be kind of cool, but I don't think it is necessary overall. For New Year's Yomi, they're kind of nice sometimes, but then they're also kind of weak. Like, I guess they could have double 7 combo with a 10 combo, so that is large amounts of personal damage. But their active skill is a full cleric on an 8-turn cooldown. That's a little long. It could be difficult to juggle because lots of stuff nowadays have back-to-back awakening binds or unmatchable. So if your team has another unmatchable option, sure, you could justify putting Yomi on the team, but at the same time, I don't think they're going to necessarily outpace other clerics available. But then again, they do hit quite hard, but lower skill boost can be a bit of a hindrance if you pursue the damage. For their weapon assist, they have tape, 2 team RCVs, and an L. I like this much more than their other form. Like, these are quite powerful and quite helpful awakenings. Like, team RCVs are always good to have. In my opinion, being able to heal up to having enough effective health to feasibly tank the largest hit is important, and then the most important thing after that is having enough healing capabilities to restore your health back to full. So this card will help you do that. It has the tape, it has a single L. These are good awakenings, and then the active skill is a full cleric style. If you want full cleric style inherits, usually the 10 draw tends to be the best option, but these are nice awakenings that do something a little different. So from an awakenings point of view, I like it. I would probably just pursue that instead of their base form, because while nice, I don't think it's going to surpass other options. New Year's Canna is still disappointing. It's been so many years, and she still is bad. I'm just confused as to why. Like, you might think of all these TPAs and the 10 combo that Daytona might like her, but unlike Marthas, who has a useful active, Canna's active is not helpful. We don't need an attack buff. we don't need 3 times attack for the owning card, and then it's a 1-turn haste. Marthas gives you the Awoken Bind clear, so that's much more helpful. Canna, on an 8-turn cooldown, is quite long and not actually helping you solve problems, so I'm just disappointed by her card overall. Like, she just gets no love. For her weapon assist, again, it's not that helpful, I feel. Maybe you can make arguments that it's an inherent on your Daytona teams. You get the bind immunity, the TPA, so the attack multiplier is higher, and then 2 jam resist. Maybe, but at the same time, there are better bind immune weapon assists. Like, Canna just does not receive enough loves, and this is an 8-star card, so that 2% chance getting that will make you quite sad overall. For New Year's Cami, she has been buffed in this new form, and it's quite an interesting form. She has enhanced hard orbs and a big RCV stat, so she'll definitely help you heal up to full health. She also has Rose and the new Big Blob Awakening, so her personal damage with the sub-attribute, especially if she takes the 7 combo, will be gargantuan. Her sub-attribute will deal meaningful damage. Her main attribute will do huge amounts of damage. And the active skill is quite powerful. It gives you an unlock and changes water to hearts, and then gives you a full... Well, it gives you unmatchable clear and all awoken binds. So not regular binds, but it's really the most important things it clears. So valuable active skill on a 6-turn cooldown, and it does give you heart orbs, which is nice. Just be mindful of the fact that she is going to be taking away your water orbs for Seawolf, so make sure that you actually have Seawolves active afterwards to make more water orbs so you still activate. But again, if we start getting more mono red leaders who like blobbing, like rowing, Cami's going to have much more value. She's definitely going to be the best in slot cleric for those respective teams, and she does have a low trade fodder requirement. She's an 8-star card, which means she only needs 4 6-star Godfest exclusives, so she does do... She fits the job of a cleric. If you didn't have Ame, you didn't have Christmas Grammar, you didn't have a good red cleric, you could pick one up. Is she optimal for Seawolf teams? I don't necessarily think so. You do run the risk of getting orb trolled potentially when you use her active, but at the same time, you're going to have a low base cleric and a good healing solution, large health stat, good stats all around. Like, I think he's definitely strong, and again, it could be good if you are missing other clerics. For her weapon assist, she has double team HP with enhanced fire orbs and the combo orb, which is becoming stronger. Remember, combo orbs have synergy with the blob awakening. Obviously, you want to use her for the blob awakening, but if you had multiple copies, this could be a good weapon assist potentially, because it gives you that same cleric style active skill with valuable awakenings if you like that blob meta. Because combo orbs now trigger off of 10 or more connected orbs. So when you make the connected 12, you're getting the big blob, which gives you more combos, which helps you hit the combo requirement for leader skills or other cards. So pretty strong stuff overall for that aspect. Again, cheaper trade fodder. Now we come to the 7-star cards, and the first one is Allatu, who is a new card and also the orb skin, which means you're able to actually purchase her directly, but rolling her is going to be a pain, and you can't monster exchange for her. But she is one of the strongest dark subs available in my opinion. She has 4 skill boosts, she has super jam resist, she has skill mine resist, which is actually meaningful nowadays. She has a double 10 combo and a VDP with an L. She's bringing so much damage and utility to your team right from her awakenings. And for the future Blackbird, this is going to be great. She's also a devil, which means Yuji Mojito teams can make use of her. Incredibly strong overall. And then her active skill is great. You get 1 turn of no Skyfalls, 1 turn of orb movement time buff, which is great, and you get a full board replacement. So this full board replacement gets rid of any problematic orbs on the board, like locked orbs, jammers, bombs, etc. You get rid of them, which is great. It's kind of like a pseudo unlock if you really think about it, because you refresh your board, then you use orb generators afterwards because they shouldn't be locked anymore. Pretty cool stuff overall. And then, on top of that, because it's a movement time buff, that's the best buff for Yuji Mojito teams, because Yuji gives you the RCV buff, both leaders give attack buff. With Allatu, you have the movement time buff, so you solve all the buffings needed. And if you have, like I said, if you have all the other good cards, you have Chakul, you have Belial, and Allatu, you suddenly have super jammer, poison, and blind resist. So, between those 3 luxury subs, including Allatu, and your leaders, if it's Yuji Mojito, you have all the buffs, all the super resists, lots of skill boosts too. It's a great card to have for your mono dark teams, and if you do have the means to purchase it, and it's something that you feel like you will be able to gain value out of it, she's going to be an incredibly strong card overall. And Izuna, she just has more flexibility compared to Academy of Valyria, because she isn't just pure skill boost. She has other options. She has double 10, which is great for Blackbird. That L is great utility as well. As a whole, I feel like it's great to pick one up, and I feel like I definitely would want to pick one up for myself because it's so strong. It's going to be valuable for your mono dark teams just moving forward in general. Her weapon assists are reasonable overall, but I think you're missing out on the huge opportunity cost of not actually using her base form. So her first weapon is Skill, Bind, Resist, and 4 Enhanced Dark Orbs. So nice passive damage, and you get 4 turns of 50% damage reduction. It's kind of cool, but again, base form is much stronger. Her weapon is Bind Immunity, Tape, and a Cross. Unique combination, but again, I don't think it's going to be worth acquiring compared to her actual base form. Her base form is just too exciting overall to give up using. For New Year's A10, they are a transforming card. They have 2 skill boosts in their pre-transformed state, and they have a 25 turn transformation time. So that is quite a big hurdle to try and overcome, but on rainbow teams, it can be meaningful if you want a big damage stick. Because if you look at their awakenings, what the fish? They have a 10 combo, 3-4 combo awakenings. They have gargantuan amounts of personal damage, and then a bunch of killers on top of that. So if one of those killers line up, you're just dealing spectacularly high amounts of damage on your main attribute, and your sub-attributes also doing big damage. So you could double cap them, you could VDP latent them. They have options, and then their active skill gives you no Skyfalls, 1 turn of an attack buff for God type cards, and then you unlock all orbs and change the whole board to Fire, Water, Wood, Light, Dark, and Heart. So a full rainbow board, so you have guaranteed VDP latent activation on a 3-turn cooldown with a board unlock. Nice stuff all around, and as a leader, they actually have pretty beefy stats, assuming you actually have a God type team overall. Like if your team is full of gods, you actually have quite a large amount of effective health and a strong attack multiplier. No, very minimal auto follow attack, but you get bonus combos. So like I think there are definitely strong 4 rainbow teams, but the problem is rainbow teams are just less efficient compared to monocolor. Monocolor is easier, more brainless to play overall, and more forgiving, partially because, oh yeah, you're right, you can't double cap Aiden, so that's even sadder. Never mind, transforming, very sad. All this damage is completely wasted, so nowhere near as good a card. Thank you, Wet, for pointing that out. So yeah, truly saddening card overall in that sense. So VDP latent all the way. So yes, they'll have main attribute and sub attribute being able to deal damage, but you're not getting the extra zest like Mariel's do. So yeah, reasonably strong leader as well, but like, yeah, I feel like if it wasn't transforming, double capping or VDP latent for the 1.5 times would be much spicier overall. It's going to be kind of like a double cap. It's 2 single caps like Daytona for sure. For New Year's Baal, they are an orb skin card, and their weapon assist is quite unique. You get triple team HP, 1 poison, and 1 jammer resist. And with that, you have nice awakenings, so even if you don't take advantage of the active skill, the awakenings are useful. But the active skill is strong. You get a full awoken skill bind clear and 2-turn an orb lock on a 2-turn cooldown. So where can this be used most efficiently? Well, this could be used on your Daytona teams, especially in co-op setups, because with the co-op setup, you could potentially just run a low base cooldown card with this inherited on top. For instance, Reeche, who is a 2-turn cooldown with red-green coverage for Shura 3, and this inherited on top is a 4-turn cleric, because you don't need unmatchable clear on Daytona teams, but you like to have a 4-turn awoken skill bind clear. So I would definitely utilize this on my Daytona co-op Shura 3 teams, on my Rule, or whatever my 1 or 2 cooldown base card is, because now I have a cleric on a regular base cooldown that is going to be up in time to deal with the awoken binds throughout Shura 3. So this is definitely quite a spicy card for that particular aspect, and the team HPs make it so I'm able to hit health thresholds more easily, which means I can take team HPs off of other cards and put in other useful awakenings that might help me out overall. So I think it's quite a strong weapon, but again, is it worth purchasing as an orb skin? I don't think it's worth it unless you get very lucky, or you just have excessive amounts of disposable income, sure. For New Year's Ganesha, they are still the only card in the game that gives 4 times coin drop rate when used to the leader. So for the most part, coins have become more valuable because you need 1 billion coins to get a card from 110 to 111. So you need this coin. So having New Year's Ganesha just gives you that extra edge of being so unique. No one else can give this much money overall. And that is a big deal because like nothing else is going to be a better choice. But at the same time, if you are able to clear Sure 3 on a regular basis or MD2, you probably have enough coins. But again, it's nice to have a card that gives more coins than any other card. You can't trade for them, you have to roll them. So if you do roll them, fantastic. And I would definitely keep them in this form. Their weapon assist is nowhere near that spicy. Like, cool, these are okay awakenings, but it's really just all about their leader skill for the 4 times coins. You can get a surprising amount of coins, and especially if you're a player who can't clear the harder stuff, New Year's Ganesha will be a massive boon to your monster box if you get lucky enough. Exactly, you're right. Also, 8-player does reduce the need to get coins, so it is unique, but we have other ways to get coins for sure. For New Year's Enola, they're a reasonably strong card for mono wood teams. I feel like I can make lots of comparisons to Real because they both have super poison. They both have 7, 10, and VDP. They do have enhanced combo. Enola has an L instead of an extra enhanced combo, but for the most part, they're pretty similar awakening skill-wise. But Real has the sub-attribute, which is green, which is better overall because their sub-attribute ends up dealing meaningful damage, and Enola's light attribute just doesn't exist because Nautilus takes light orbs away, so it's going to be kind of wasteful, and we don't need light coverage if you have Alina, who is just the superior choice overall for light. But for her active skill, she gets a 3-turn delay and then unlocks the board and creates a board of wood, light, and hard orbs. So this is actually a nice active skill, especially if you can utilize a delay halfway through the dungeon. At the start of the dungeon, you're going to delay floor 1, help yourself transform, and then if you can delay later on in a meaningful fashion, Enola becomes much more valuable. For instance, in Shura 3, I personally like delaying Parvati Minerva floor because they are terrible because you're able to wait out the leader swap, you're also able to wait out the RCV debuff, so in that instance there, I can definitely foresee her being valuable in that aspect when you can use the delay throughout the dungeon. And then if you can't use the delay, well, at least it's a board changer with a board unlock, so you're never going to get orb trolled, and in theory, this board changer is good for Nautilus because you get 2/3 wood, 1/3 heart orbs. So that still can be good. Would I use her over other cards? Maybe not, but again, if you did roll her, you could be happy. But at the same time, I feel that her weapon assist is the superior choice. You get Cloud Resist, you get Team HP, Team RCV, and 2 enhanced wood orbs. Those are nice awakenings. And on top of that, it's that same useful active skill where you get a delay and the board unlock. So this is a great weapon assist for teams that could utilize those orbs. If you use wood or light orbs, this can be helpful. And you also have nice awakenings. So as a weapon, I feel like she has much more usable value overall. I would, like I said, use Real or other cards as opposed to her as a sub, and use this as a weapon on top of, say, Real, for instance. That way you get the best of both worlds. A better body with that delay still, and that delay will come back up when you need it for later on in the dungeon. For New Year's, Keji is the last card I want to talk about because the other 7 stars are underwhelming and 6, 5, and 4 stars are just depressing overall. But for New Year's, Keji, they're quite powerful. They have 777 combo with VDP, and they can get quad 7 combo. And the fact that their VDP is not through Super Awakenings means that their ability to be used in co-op is higher. They should have enough damage overall. And for red color coverage for your Saphira teams, it can be a strong option for sure. Their active skill gives you nice utility. It's a 5-turn cooldown, so easy to inherit over top of, and you get 2 turns of 35% damage reduction, which should be enough to let you tank and survive various problematic encounters. You also get 2 times RCV, which is great. You also unlock and create 3 fire, 3 light, and 3 hard orbs. So it's quite a useful and valuable active skill. It's solving multiple different mechanics, unlocking, orb generation, RCV buffing, and shielding on a 5-turn cooldown. So easy to inherit over top of, does large amounts of personal damage. I think they're quite a strong card for your light-based teams. And again, it is an orb skin card, so if you feel like your Saphira teams are one of your best options that you have, and you have the disposable income to do so, this may be a useful orb skin to purchase. For their weapon assist, I feel that it is reasonable, like in a sense that it has a cross, which is unique, still has its same active skill, but I feel like it's definitely better served in their base form because this is quite a nice body overall with the extra utility through the L. So, in conclusion, the New Year's Reg Machine does have some strong cards in it for sure, but the problem is the rolling rates are poor. We have One Punch Man coming up soon. Blackbird's debut, Super Godfist, will have better rolling rates. Well, it won't be better than Player's Choice, but it will have much better rates than New Year's REM. So, as a whole, I don't think it's a good idea to spend your red pocket money on this unless you like the Orb Skin cards. Rolling in here, I feel like is a poor choice because poor rolling rates and just much better events coming up on the horizon. So, in summary, the Orb Skin cards are definitely strong. You may possibly find some value trading for New Year's Reach if you don't have any great super long-term absorption cancellations, but I feel like it does border somewhat on luxurious and not necessary. Great to have, but you may not necessarily need it. So with that being said, let me know what you think about the New Year's Reg Machine in the comments down below. Do you think it's actually an event worth rolling in? Or do you feel like you're just going to do your free rolls and maybe trade, maybe IAP and just save and hope for better stuff in the future? Regardless of all that, hopefully you all have a truly fantastic day. I wish you the best luck in your own pad adventures, and happy puzzling.